Building Back Better is a strategy aimed at lowering the risk of future disasters and shocks to the people of nations and communities. First, disaster risk reduction strategies are integrated into the repair of physical infrastructure, social systems, and shelter, as well as the revival of livelihoods, economies, and the environment under the BBB strategy. In 2010, the UN General Assembly recognized access to safe and clean drinking water and sanitation as a human right, and called for international efforts to help countries to provide safe, clean, accessible, and affordable drinking water and sanitation. In 2017, 74% of the world's population used at least a basic sanitation service, yet 2 billion people still do not have basic sanitation facilities such as toilets or latrines. Some 827,000 people in low and middle-income countries die as a result of inadequate water, sanitation, and hygiene each year, representing 60% of total diarrheal deaths. Poor sanitation is believed to be the main cause in some 432,000 of these deaths. Diarrhea remains a major killer but is largely preventable. Better water sanitation and hygiene could prevent the deaths of 297,000 children aged under 5 years each year. Open defecation perpetuates a vicious cycle of disease and poverty. The countries where open defecation is most widespread have the highest number of deaths of children aged under 5 years, as well as the highest levels of malnutrition and poverty and big disparities of wealth.
Today, the equivalent of a garbage truckload of plastic is dumped into the ocean every single minute. Even now as we speak, there is over 150 million tons of plastic already floating in the ocean. Many of these plastic materials are breaking down into microplastics that are consumed by the fish, and then these fish are consumed by humans, meaning we are indirectly taking in the very plastic we consider as garbage. They are responsible for keeping the ecosystems alive. One of the greatest threats to whales, dolphins, and sharks is commercial fishing. People don't realize that a lot of dolphins and sharks are caught in the nets as bycatch and are thrown back into the ocean when they are already dead. Bycatch is the unwanted fish and other marine creatures caught during the commercial fishing for a different species.
Global warming and its effect on climate is one of the most pressing issues facing the world today. It is a meta problem that exacerbates most other challenges that keeps us up at night, from sea level rise or the depletion of natural resources to increased conflict, poverty, and gender inequality. Creating the future we all want requires older and younger generation to work together for the change we need. But the problem is that the majority of people in many countries are failing to address the recent crisis as simple as
I think Build Back Better is one of the most important things when a country goes through disaster. I think the number one priority that they should prioritize is sanitation. In my own opinion, without sanitation, you can't move on to solving the next problems. But it's sad to see that many people, especially in our generation, they don't know much about Build Back Better.
I think Build Back Better is a good initiative, but we all have to keep in mind what that really means and also not let it divide us into what we believe in, and just keep the focus on what it really is about, and that is to focus on improving the environment and keeping the people's interests at heart, not just the people but also the animals and the environment.
And on top of that is a youth breakthrough, as in speaking up. Young people are the key actors in raising awareness by increasing youth participation, raising their voice, and in fact, they are the actual agents of change, entrepreneurs and innovators. Whether through education, science, or technology, young people are scaling up their efforts and using their skills to act on climate change. Building Back Better means mending our economies and our planet at the same time. It also calls for a stronger integration of the most profound underlying environmental challenge we face, namely sanitation, plastic pollution in the ocean, and lastly climate change. In the process of building back, there is no action is too small to bring about the change.